Hey, what's going on? It's been a while since I've been on. I figured I'd use this time to really catch up with you guys, see how you guys are doing, and really, just let you guys know what I've been up to. If you've been watching the channel for a while, you know how I started a few years ago, kind of doing following along with whatever everybody else was doing in order to, get views. And back then, we had a lot of content creators making relationship, men and women type content, what's wrong with the opposite sex, what so have you. If you're trying to build a platform and you're trying to build a brand, of course, most people just want to be successful. So you're not really thinking about most people anyway. If most people don't come with a plan thinking about what they're going to do unless they are really following their heart and their God-given purpose and taking that and then making a platform out of it. Me, myself, I was doing what most people would do, and that's just following the trend in order to gain notice, gain popularity, notoriety, whatever, and then build a platform from there. But just like most people, the statistics will tell you or show you that if you're doing that, most people won't be successful because eventually you'll get burnt out. And I'm not just saying burnt out for the fact of you being just not wanting to work. You get burnt out because you're doing something that's not really from your heart, not really what's meant for you. So you're taking time out of your life, making these videos, taking time away from your family if you have a family, to make content that is really not coming from your heart. And when you do that, and when you continue to do that, it weighs on you. And then as soon as something happens, you feel like, well, I'm not going to do that, or I'm going to push that to the side, because it's really not coming from a place of purity, because it's not really you. You're just trying to follow along. So as soon as the road gets rough, it's easier for you to just let it go. And it's easier for you to just push it to the side because it's really not something that you care about. It's just something that you're trying to gain something out of when it's not really coming from you. And that's really where I began to see, and I began to notice. I noticed before these content creators started to fall, and I'm not naming any of them one by one, that I knew before that it was time for me to stop making content like that, because I knew, because these are not our platforms, we don't own it, that this stuff comes in waves. Popularity dies down in different platforms, and then they need to kind of be a little bit more lax, get people to come in, and then what they do is they'll give you just enough rope in order for you to hang yourself. And that's what you see a lot of these content creators doing. They'll say, well, it was okay X year ago, but why is it okay now? And the platforms are not telling them why. They're just doing what's best for them, as they should. And then, you get deplatformed or demonetized and whatever. I knew that stuff was happening. So it was time for me, and I could see the writing on the wall. Some people would call it discernment. I saw it and I was like, well, maybe it is time. Not a maybe. It's time for me to just let that stuff die down and then figure out what I wanted to actually do, or what I want to actually bring to the platform. And that's why you started to see me talk about careers and changing career paths, and the way the establishment has everything built in now. Wanted to give people forewarning, wanted to give people hope that they were not the only people going through hard times, struggles, and everything in between, because the system is designed to keep us in this ball, right, in this bubble, to keep us in a state of not knowing what to do. And the only way you can make it is to get a hand up from the giant corporations and make you feel like there's no way for you to be able to sustain on your own. And I want to let people know that isn't true. It's not our faults that we feel the way we feel, that we feel petrified of being out and making our own way and making our own path and making our own money, because from kindergarten all the way till 12th grade on into higher education, we're taught to be employees. We're not taught to be self-sufficient. We're not taught to be the creators. We're taught to be the consumers. And people are slowly realizing this. Some people will just say, I don't want to delve into the part of creating anything because it's too hard. And some people will be pushed into creating their own and have the bravery to do that. And but yet we all have this tug and nagging inside of our spirit, because we all know that this thing, the way this system is and the way this machine is, isn't natural. If I could say it like that, it's not really natural. It's something that is created. And I don't know. Well, I have a assumption why it was created, because we need consumers. We also need people to create the things that people are consuming, and we need to keep people in a state of mind and a state of being to continue to be those creators of things that people are consuming. And I mean not the actual inventors. I mean the people that are on the factory floors or on the assembly lines, creating for these people to consume. Without those people doing that, you really don't have anything to sell. That's why you see these arguments coming about AI, and if AI takes the jobs, who else are going to be there to buy and mindlessly consume the stuff that these billionaires are making? And it's a valid argument, and it's one that should be posed. But back to what I was saying, I wanted to be able to be a fixed star, or for you to actually look in on and see that I'm not the only one that's going through this. I want to be able to show people that yes, it's harder. The older you get, it is harder to do things, and that is the main thing I want younger people to know, as well as older people. The earlier you start something, the better. If it's investments, if it's careers, whatever. I also have a live stream that I do on Facebook when I talked about being okay to have these resets. They have soft resets and hard resets, right? In life, just like a video game or a computer, you have soft resets when you just push the button and the computer remembers everything that where you left off at. But they also have hard resets where everything stopped, you lose everything, and you have to start over again. It's okay to have these hard resets once in a couple times in your lifetime, and it's okay to have small resets and reboot yourself and start things, especially when things get stressed out for you in entrepreneurship or wherever. But you can't continue to make hard resets because you don't have the time to make up for it, right? And that's the stuff I want people to really realize. And it's okay, and it's okay if you're just getting that aha moment, the real awakening. People say woke all the time on the internet, but they're using it wrong. When you have that real awakening to understand that you're in this thing that people call the Matrix now, and I don't want to dig off into that, but you kind of realize that this thing has been kind of created to keep you in kind of like this mindless state of consumption. And when you really pull back from that and look at what's going on, yes, it sucks if you've been in it for a long time. I myself was in a career for 15 years, and I made decent money. I took care of my family. I was able to buy a home. My family never did without. Yes, we had ups and downs, laid off a couple of times before I actually got into the career portion of that job. And we're there. It happens. We're there. But what you begin to really see is this system gives you, especially if you're in the workforce and you're not in the top tier, it keeps you in this place of just enough. It keeps you in a place of just enough. And what I mean by that is, yes, you have this good job, you got a car, you have a house, and you're trying to put for retirement, but at the end, it's always just enough. So anytime inflation hits, anytime prices go up, anytime life hits you, you're right back at the point to where you are anxious, anxiety ridden, scared because you don't know if you're going to be able to make it because you're so used to living at this level. Now things, accident happen or the inflation has gone up, and now you don't know if you can make it anymore. So now you're back praying and you're in church. If you go to church and you're praying to God to help you make it, and then you get just enough a raise, right? You get a 3%, a 6%, even though inflation went up 12%, and you feel a little bit better, but it's not quite like where you were before all the stuff happened. And so you're right here again, like, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? and you get trapped because that job makes you feel, things are provided for, you're comfortable, but in the back of your heart and your spirit that God has something more for you, right? But you're afraid because you don't want to leave all this comfortability behind. And when you leave that comfortability behind, you're out there in the wilderness, exposed, and you don't want to be exposed. You like that comfort, you like that cushion, that armor from your previous job. And that's where I was. I felt the tug. I knew that it would never, on my own will, this would never be enough. I would be okay, and I was blessed that I was okay. But I had this feeling that I knew I could go light years above and beyond where I was, but I didn't know how to get there. But I knew I had to make a move, right? I knew that I had to make a move, and without me making a move, I would never get there. And all of this was telling me that I had to because I was in the position and that, where I was, and a lot of it was because of the decisions I made, right? That there was no way I was going to be able to make it to the next tier unless I left it all and then put my faith into something bigger than what I am and bigger than what I could do, because I could only do so much. And that's when I decided to make the decision in April to leave it all behind. 15 years in one place, didn't work. I didn't job hop. I'm a faithful, loyal employee. I stayed there, worked my way up. If you haven't heard the story before, I worked my way up from the floor. This doesn't happen a lot anymore. I believe I'm some of the last of the dying breed of being able to work on a factory floor, work themselves all the way into an office position, and then do multiple positions within that office, within that office, and then work my way to those levels, right? So, it was fun. Supply, quality control, supplier quality, engineering, and specialties like that. Then going into material planning and logistics, working with suppliers, working with the relationship and buying and making sure those inventories stayed a certain way. It was all good, and it was enlightening. You got to actually work with and know people and kind of make sure the metrics met what they wanted them to meet. But nothing will stop that feeling, until you actually living in the purpose that God put you here for on this planet. You will not feel whole. And I'm not apologizing to the people that don't believe in God. I'm not apologizing to the people that that thinks that is offensive. It's my story. It's my truth. It's what I believe, and I believe that God has a bigger thing for me than what I had there, and I couldn't do it without putting my faith in God, because I'm just like 80-90% of the rest of the population. If you don't have thousands of dollars to go to school for a specific thing that's going to put you in the top tier of society, we're just like everybody else. We're all just here trying to make it, right? And there's nothing that can shield you from when a corporation says, "Oh, you're done. That's it. We don't need you anymore. We don't want you anymore. You don't fit in the culture of this." Or if it's just the facts don't make sense, the facts and figures don't make sense anymore for us to pay you what we were paying you. I've been there too. And until you live in your purpose and making your thing, making the money and doing the things and living in the realm in which God put you here for, and actually flourishing in that, most of us won't make it to that place of self-sufficiency. So that's why I'm here, and that's what I'm trying to do now. I'm trying to tell you and help you the best way I can. I actually wanted to try whatever I could try. I always love real estate. I have another channel. If you find it, great. But I'm building that. But I'm also stay here too, because I want this thing to be something bigger than even myself. I prayed for me to actually make a message and to reach people. This tree to actually bear fruit that I would even never would have thought of. And that's why I'm here. And this isn't going to be edited. I'm just going to post it like I posted it. I hope you see it. And if you still like the content and you still want to be here, I'm going to leave some of the old content up because it is here. I'm not ashamed of it. But, that's just me following. It's time for me to be a leader in the best way that I can. And if you're down for it, We're going to build this thing and hopefully make this thing 1,000 plus subscribers and followers, and continue to be on the path that it's meant for me. And I hope I can help anybody along the way. So thank you. If this reaches you and it's blessed you, I'm glad that it did. If you feel like you're alone, you're not alone. And continue to push and continue to press, and know that there are people that love and care about you and want you to succeed and want you to be here. And sometimes that's all we need to hear to keep us moving and keep us going. Until next time, everybody,